you've been paying attention to my videos at all recently, you've heard me saying that I'm starting a quote new day job, and that day job started today. I won't go into who it's with, but I really don't think it's a good idea to get too much into detail who I'm working for and what I'm doing on my videos, because I really want to sort of be free to say what I want to say on my videos, and I don't want to be cast or couched as a representative of either of the entities in question that I could sort of count myself working for at this moment in time. So I'm not going to get into detail on that. Today's video, that's a little bit less of a problem for than usual, because I'm going to talk again on the subject of autism. On today's Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics, by the way, I'm your host, I'm Kurt, I am going to talk on the subject of, quote, Blake doesn't talk, end of quote. And that's an autism subject, in case you're wondering. Today is Monday, the 7th of June of 2021. Thank you for everybody who's here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube. I'm recording this quite late, and I'd like to apologize for that. I'm not too... The point of bringing up the job thing is, yeah, I spent the day working, and so now I get to do my video now. So this is sort of not the highlight of my day by any means, but it's one of the highlights. It's one of the things that I really enjoy doing. But I wanted to talk today, like I say, on a subject on today's Daily Summation of Blake doesn't talk, as I say. And I'm going to go ahead and read my notes, as I often do. And I start with the idea that there are differences in symptomology of autism, even at the same level, okay? Though my son and the other young man named Blake are likely both level 2 or moderately autistic, and frankly they're at very similar places, but for certain symptoms there are still pretty large differences between them. This is equally true for level 1 or mild autism, and certainly so for level 3 or severe autism. You'll see such a range of, quote, symptoms that, you know, how they, quote, present, right? That it's hard to even recognize it. As I've said before, autism is one thing, and that's because in my mind it's not. Just like many others, Garrett thinks there's a, quote, problem with Blake. He doesn't understand why Blake doesn't talk. He also can't comprehend, why Blake is sensitive to loud noises, much less not so loud noises. And Blake is quite sensitive compared. The point here is, even to one autistic person, autism in another may be strange or odd. And so actually that's the end of my notes, by the way. So actually what I wanted to do is I wanted to cover a couple of ideas. And that's one of them that I'm going to talk about a little more. But I'm going to start out with this one concept, and it is this. Blake doesn't talk. My son, Garrett, talks. They're almost certainly both moderately autistic, yet Blake doesn't talk. Why doesn't Blake talk? Well, that's a fine question. I don't really know the answer to that, and I'm not sure even the, quote, experts, air quoting here with my fingers, even the, quote, experts really have the answer to it. I don't think even the experts really know the answer to that question. Blake does talk, to be fair. His speech is extremely limited, quite halting, and one day he may come to the point where he actually starts speaking, and then again maybe he won't. To be quite clear, Blake is very bright, quite funny, extremely inquisitive, and loves to play. So to put it simply, the fact that Blake doesn't talk is a sort of a stumbling block, is a sort of a hindrance for him. But it's not some gigantic thing in his life that can't be overcome. Blake might have been diagnosed a mute in time past, right? Somebody who could hear but couldn't talk. But the reality is, it seems to be something that's based on neural pathways and input-output between the brain and the mouth that makes that happen. Let me tell you, Blake's hands work great. Blake's brain seems to work fantastically. Blake's eyes seem pretty darn good. And Blake sees things, knows things, and likes things, enjoys things, doesn't like certain things, has problems with certain things. But the point is, and the thing I was sort of trying to get across, Garrett can speak. Now, in Garrett's case, there may be some IO related thing, but actually in Garrett's case it's more about what words he uses. So I used to give an example. I used to say that Garrett would eat these cookies from a certain place, and I bought him cookies one day, and I left them in my car overnight, and I asked him if he wanted a cookie that morning, the next morning, and he said yes, and I gave him the cookie, and he basically said, I don't want this. I don't remember what words he used. They weren't nearly that clear. He said, I don't want this. Oh, well, Garrett, why not? That cookie's a statue, or it's a statue. That was his way of saying it was stale, because the word stale had no meaning to him at that point. Does it now? Maybe, sort of, but really probably not very much, to be frank with you. The point is, the symptoms between two moderately autistic children who are probably fairly similar on the scale. Blake is probably trending towards severe. Garrett is probably trending towards severe in terms of their autism. But the symptoms that you see in the two of them are not so totally different that you would not assume both of them were autistic so much as there are certain things that are markedly different between Blake and Garrett, right? So that's the first thing that I want to talk about. And I'm going to run myself out of time if I'm not careful. So I'll go ahead and start to talk about the second thing. Second thing is the title of this video, Blake Doesn't Talk. My son and I had just walked up to the door of his school, and Blake goes to the same school. In fact, they're in the same classroom, or have been. Blake walked up with his mama, and as Blake is walking up, Garrett notices that he's there. Oh, there's Blake. He doesn't really say that like that, but it's not the point. The point is he realized that he was there. So Garrett says something that didn't tickle me exactly, but I found it sort of humorous. And it was, something's wrong with Blake. That's sort of how he said it. I don't remember the exact words. I'm quite sure it wasn't nearly that clear. Oh, really, Garrett? What's wrong with Blake? Blake doesn't talk. And he couldn't comprehend. It wasn't something that in his mind made any sense at all. Why doesn't Blake talk? I don't get it. Yeah, it's true. What Garrett says may not be all that intelligible for a lot of people. Okay, in the course of time, obviously, that's gotten better and better, and I have confidence that in the ultimate course of time, it'll get quite good, in fact. But the point is, Blake really doesn't talk at all. Okay, he doesn't talk at all. So, and the point I'm making here is, even in Garrett's mind, Blake is odd. And I have news for you. I would make a bet. In Blake's mind, so is Garrett. And for that matter, in Blake's mind, so are, quote, neurotypical people, right? People who are not autistic, or even mildly autistic people, or severely autistic people. They're weird to Blake, and they're weird to Garrett. Just as we look at people who are autistic and we say, you know, this person is odd or that person is odd. The fact is, Garrett looks at Blake and thinks Blake is odd. To Garrett, Blake is odd. And as I say, I would be horribly surprised to hear that Blake didn't look at me and think I'm odd, okay? Because he deals with the world in the ways that he deals with the world. He's not trying to do anything odd, different, or special. He's just being Blake. And the same thing applies to Garrett. And this is something I've spent a lot of time talking about, I know, because I said certain of these same things in my last video. But what I'm trying to get across to you is, in just the same way that Blake or Garrett seem odd to you or me, I seem odd or Blake seems odd to Garrett. And rightly so, because I'm not what Garrett is used to seeing. Likely it's true again for Blake. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if that was true. And I just want you to understand these two things, these two concepts. Number one, how people present where autism is concerned, what they show in terms of the things that they display. One of them at moderate levels of autism, trending towards severe, might not talk. One of them might talk in not so great ways. And there's so many other things that might be different, right? And that's even true in mild autism. Okay, I am running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, but I think you get the idea. The second point, of course, is these two kids who are both autistic, who are both moderately autistic or level 2 autistic, probably look at the world in much the same way, and they think lots of us are really weird people. And I had again, I'm going to give a shout out to the Let's Talk Autism channel on minds.com, where the lady who runs that channel put out a meme that said something along the lines of, why aren't you over interested in this particular subject, and so forth, that a person who's autistic might be overly interested in. All right, I need to go ahead and wrap up this video. This has been the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Monday, the 7th of June of 2021. That means tomorrow will be Tuesday, the 8th of June of 2021. Thank you for everybody who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube, or wherever you happen to be coming from. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform. You can give me a positive rumble on Rumble, or a negative one if you don't like or have a problem with what I'm saying. You can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's a like or a dislike on YouTube if you want to do that as well. Remember that you can comment on both of those two platforms, and as I get time, I'm going to go ahead and try and catch my video, my audio podcast up, and it, I tell you at the end of the video where it's available. In any case, I hope you're having a good day today. I've had a relatively good day, minor problems, but nothing major. Hope everything is going well for you, and I hope that I will see you again on tomorrow's Daily Summation, which will be Your Lens Matters and will be more standard cultural stuff, just so that you're aware. Hope you're doing well today, and again, I hope to see you again on tomorrow's edition of the Daily Summation. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Monday, June 7th of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that, and you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.